Hello, everyone. So very good to see you on this Thanksgiving Eve. Good to see you all. Hello, Cat Lady, Raymond, Show Poodles, Doodle Mom, Starlito, Mama, Little Miss Sharon, Deanna D, Linda, Love True Crime, Janet, Ashley, Cat Lady. Good to see you, my friend. Orange Wedge, Jenny, thank you so much for being here to mod. Teresa Bowman, Lisa King, and all the others. Becky, hello, hello, hello. Well, we are here today, and anyone else in the bushes, the house, hello, Rhonda. Thank you so much for being here. And if I haven't said hello to you personally, please know it means the world to me to have you here because without you, this show is nothing. Hello, Minnie. Hello, hello, my friends. You are the OG for sure. Thank you for being here to mod, everyone. Well, we are going to start with our song today, and then we are going to get right into the most recent update about Chris Proudfoot's Alibi. Hi, Chicky. About Chris Proudfoot's Alibi. Hello, Dancing Queen, Maria Gutierrez, Dr. Pepper Princess, Smack Talker. YouTuber is here. Thank you for being here to mod. Hi, Linda Hall, Brenda Sue, Genia. Great to see you all. So let's start with our song. Get to our FBI poster. We are here for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers today, and we are going to bring him home. Boy, I'd love to bring him home for the holidays for his father. Hi, Lakey. How are you doing? Hi, me and you. We're getting right to our song so we can get started.
We gather here as a family, searching clues to find the missing kids around this world, searching far and wide, things that make us cry. Sometimes they are found safe, but many don't get out alive. We fight for justice, for the voiceless. We help one another look for evidence, turn it in and hope they listen to the clues we found, even if it is small. These children are blessings and didn't ask for this. But some aren't even given simple things like love, a little hug, I'm proud of you, just a compliment. Crime Time Buzz is always there looking for answers and help us find you out there. Are you hiding from someone that hurts you? Or did they remove you from this earth because they simply didn't care? Just so you know, America cares. We cry. You notice that you're missing from a dinner table, a holiday, another birthday come and gone. God is with you, my darling, we're trying to find you, searching every day, just so you can play another day. Don't give up on those that really care. You are precious and beautiful, smart and kind, and tomorrow we hope to find you. You are precious and beautiful, smart and kind, and tomorrow we hope to find you.
Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. We need to bring him home. I would love to have him home for the holidays. I truly, truly would. My heart goes out to his loved ones tonight, especially Seth. Absolutely, Seth, who is without his boy for another holiday. Sebastian's 17th birthday is coming up December 7th, and then also having Christmas without him and New Year's. So let's hope we can turn this around and bring Sebastian Rogers from Henderson, Tennessee home for the holidays. Now, I am here to let you know that I saw, hi, Holly, thank you for being here to mod. I saw the update from at night, and I did speak with one of my a confidential source. I did listen to the audio, and I'm going to share with you what I learned from it and what questions arise from it, because there are a few. There are several. We're also going to talk about not only what was he doing for his alibi, but also Then we're going to move on to Melissa. I want to talk about Melissa a little bit. We are not accusing anyone in this live. We are alleging, theorizing, speculating who in the world could have taken Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. We are not accusing anyone. This is for entertainment purposes only. But we do need to talk about it. We do need to theorize. We do need to keep sharing those FBI flyers and bring him home for the holidays. I do want to apologize if you hear kid noise, microphones. They're playing with a karaoke machine. They're running around. They're having Thanksgiving, pre-Thanksgiving fun. I apologize, but it might come in. You might hear it. So just know it's everyone having some fun around me. I'm so good to see you all. I'm still going to come on in the morning and spend Thanksgiving morning with you. And I'm just blessed to have you all. And I want you all to know that. Please hit the thumbs up if you have not. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. Hit the notification bell for any updates coming on for any of our cases. We have a lot going on lately. Thank goodness, right? Well, as you can see from this thumbnail, I title it The Memphis Alibi. What came out is CP's alibi. And I reached out to my confidential source and they shared the audio with me. I listened to it. It brought up some questions for me and I am bringing to you what I connected. And I know you're such an amazing critical thinking and researching community. I also have some questions and I thought maybe you all know the answers. So this live, we're going to be working together for what you know, what I know, what questions come up with this alibi and this update. So thank you so much for being here. We are going to go ahead and get started with Sebastian's FBI flyer because that is the one his father would like us to share. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, by the way, still has an active Amber Alert in Tennessee. This is his FBI flyer. I will please share this flyer. Sebastian is not home. He was reported missing February 26, 2024 by his mother and stepfather from Hendersonville, Sumner County, Tennessee. At the time, Sebastian was 15. He is soon to be 17. This has gone on long enough. We need to work together as a community, do whatever we can to help bring this young man home. Like Seth Rogers, his father, said, they are not finished making memories. This has just paused them. He wants him home. So let's bring him home for the holidays. Share this flyer with everyone. Maybe put them in your Christmas cards, your holiday cards, your Thanksgiving blessings you send out. Please send Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers flyer along with it. I would really appreciate that. I know Seth would appreciate it. And I'm sure, sorry about that. And I'm sure that Sebastian will appreciate it too. Okay, so At Night Creative Intelligence put out an update regarding Christopher Proudfoot, the stepfather of Sebastian Rogers' alibi. This has gone on. We've gone back and forth. Was he in Memphis? Is he in? Did he leave Memphis? And we're going to look at some of that today and clear it up. Thank you all for being here. If I did not greet you personally, hi, little Miss Sharon. Please know I'm so thankful and grateful you're here. Hey, Caroline Miller. He's probably grown very tall. He's probably much taller than 5'5" now. He may not have the same hair. It could be colored. It could be shaved. It could be grown long. We could think a bun, dreadlocks, you name it. He could have a mustache. He could have a goatee. He could have a beard. He could wear contacts. He could wear colored contacts, different frame of glasses. We don't know. What we do know is we want to bring him home, and we are being vigilant and persevering to that goal. So At Night Creative Intelligence, I know it rocked a lot of your worlds when you read the update, but if you pull it apart, I think you'll see a little bit of insight into it. So I want to read it together. And that is what we're going to do. The update, although it says Chris was in Memphis, indeed, and I heard the audio and I'm going to tell you all about it. Just remember that nothing was said that maybe allegedly someone else didn't travel to Memphis or other things. Okay. So I really, hi, JH. Hi, Barb. I really would like to go over that now. And that is what we're going to do. Oh, sorry. Let me get to X. Oh, there we go. Ooh, the house got quiet. We got lucky. Okay. At Night Creative Intelligence. Let me see when this was posted. And let me get back in here. Hold on one second. Let me see when it was posted. It was posted November 25th, which was yesterday. This in no way means that At Night Creative Intelligence has closed any cases, that they're not looking everywhere, that they're not paying attention to everyone. But facts are facts, and we're going to go over them, okay? At Night Creative Intelligence. At Night Creative Intel. Update on the disappearance of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers from Hendersonville, Tennessee. Sebastian, for those of you new to the case, is high functioning autism, a high school student, loves animals, was getting ready to be involved in the I believe it was FFA at his school, and where he would have an animal to take care of and present and raise and present, and he was very, very excited about that. Sebastian also loves to play chess. His favorite color is the color green. If you see him, he will answer you. He's very, very verbal. He will also he plays chess, so he plots what he does. He knows how to strategize. So the fact of him walking out in the dark of the night without shoes, money, phone, his game system, his Switch is a little confusing to me. It doesn't make sense. Allegedly bare feet. Craddock said that that was never confirmed. We've heard an audio where KP said she never said he was in bare feet. So we truly do not know if Sebastian has shoes on his feet when he left. At Night continues to support the search effort and intelligence work involving the disappearance of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, a 16-year-old autistic teenager who vanished from Sumner County, Tennessee on February 25th, 2024 at age 15. Recently, we announced our partnership with the United Cajun Navy, and we continue to map out a plan of action. United Cajun Navy will be searching with At Night Creative Intelligence. They will be creating a plan of action of the areas that would be most beneficial for them to search for Sebastian. If you recall, United Cajun Navy had been out there prior to. There were threats. They left, and they are coming back, and they will be partnering up with At Night Creative Intelligence for searching. Sebastian is a vulnerable teen with autism who was reported missing from his home in Hendersonville, Tennessee, where he resided with his mother, Katie Proudfoot, and his stepfather, Chris Proudfoot. This tonight is starting with Chris Proudfoot's alibi. Sebastian was last seen in public on February 24th, 2024, leaving a Texas Roadhouse restaurant. At the time, Sebastian was living in a home where there were known marital issues between adults in the residence. That dynamic is part of the broader context of the case, but it does not by itself answer what happened to Sebastian. Sebastian's biological father, Seth Rogers, is employed at a neighboring county's sheriff's office at the county jail. He was on duty and on facility surveillance during critical windows of time, and that information is part of the established timeline. While the marital issues come up, I'm going to pop in here and make a point of what I listened to on the audio real quick. So after At Night posted the audio, I rekindled my source that I had during the Tel Aviv sighting. They shared a confidential and long conversation with an individual who identifies himself as Chris Proudfoot's superior at St. Jude's and the crane coordinator for that large St. Jude's project. Before I get into the alibi, since they brought up the marital issues, when I listened to the audio, one thing that was said was that CP was ready to step out, away, end the marriage. He was going to be leaving. That is what he said, and start fresh. So I see marital issues in here. I tie it to the audio I heard, and it is a flag, right? It's a red flag. So Chris Proudfoot had told this individual in conversation that he was done, that he was going to be leaving the marriage, start getting a fresh start for himself, starting over. This person is not just anyone. It is the crane coordinator for that very, very large St. Jude's project. I will share with you that well, let's keep going. I will share with you that the FBI is on it because they showed up there at least 2 times to speak to this individual. The reason this individual providing the alibi is believable is because he did let the FBI know. And when I say he, I'm talking about the crane coordinator. When I say they, I'm speaking about my source. He did, because I'm not revealing my source, my friends. He did say that they have a very sophisticated camera system. It goes back 5 years. They have to because, it's a children's hospital, right? Babies could get kidnapped and other things could happen. Very sophisticated system in which it can go back all the way to 5 years. I do want you to know that. He also told the FBI that he was willing to testify to Chris Proudfoot's movements on February 26th and the 25th. And the FBI visited him at least twice. So one thing we know is the FBI's on it. They're investigating this case, or they were out there. Another thing we know is that he told what he knew about Chris Proudfoot's whereabouts on Sunday night between 8 p.m. all the way past midnight, and then Chris's whereabouts at work on Monday morning beginning at 5:15 a.m. So we are going to get right to that, and I'm going to share with you kind of things that from the audio set off red flags for me. But let's continue with this update. For those of you coming in, happy pre-Thanksgiving. Thank you for being here with me. I'm still going to come on in the morning and spend some time with you all. I just wanted to get this out there because I was seeing on social media, on YouTube, many of you were pretty upset. Hi, Gypsy. Thank you for being here to mod. Many of you were confused, upset, bewildered, not sure what to think of the update. So we're going to break it apart together as a family. At the time, Sebastian was living in a home where there were no marital issues. And I just shared with you what the audio shared about that. The crane coordinator had conversations with Chris. They're friends at work, not outside of work, really. But they're friends at work. They've had conversations. CP shared his frustrations and had indicated he was planning on exiting the marriage, leaving Katie and starting fresh. Sebastian's biological father, Seth Rogers, is employed at a neighboring county sheriff's office at the county jail. He was on duty and on facility surveillance during critical windows of time, and that information is part of the established timeline. Sebastian was age 15 at the time of the disappearance. And if you're new to the case, this update will also provide you with some very valuable information about our dear, sweet Sebastian. He was age 15 at the time he disappeared. He is 16 now. December 7th, he will be 17. At the time he disappeared, he was approximately 5'5" and 120 pounds, brown or blonde hair, brown or hazel eyes. Seth was in our chat a long time ago and shared with us the reason it says brown or hazel eyes is because Sebastian's eyes changed with his moods. His neurodivergence is diagnosed with autism. His autism may affect how he responds to stress, strangers, and attempts at communication. He may not react in ways typical for other teenagers under similar circumstances, but he is indeed verbal. If you see Sebastian, please call 911. Confirmed regarding Chris Proudfoot. At night, his independently confirmed through an eyewitness who works with him that stepfather Chris Proudfoot was in Memphis during the relevant timeframe surrounding Sebastian's disappearance. This confirmation does not close the case, but it was an important claim we now know is fact. It has been integrated into At Night's working timeline and shared as appropriate with relevant partners and authorities. Our focus remains on assembling a complete and accurate picture of movements, opportunities, and anomalies in the days and weeks leading up to and including February 25th, 2024. And like I mentioned on that slide, because CP is in Memphis, I'm just going to say this alleged. It does not mean someone didn't drive to Memphis. It does not mean someone did. It means we're talking about it. We're not accusing anyone. Hi, Nomi Twisted Tails. How you doing? Hi, Brown Eyed Girlies. Good to see you, Nicey Marie. Current focus, non-resident individuals and vehicles in the neighborhood. At Night is now specifically seeking information on individuals, and I want you to look at that time frame, on individuals and vehicles that were seen in Sebastian's neighborhood but did not reside there during the period from January 1st of 2024 to February 25th, 2024. You all are amazing. You know so much information. You email it with me, you talk to others, you share it. So if you have any information about any vehicles from January 1st through the 25th in that neighborhood, please report it. Even if you think, oh, well, that's no big deal. It could be. And it's Sebastian's life. So please report it. We are particularly interested in people who were not regular residents, but were seen visitors tour from the Proudfoot residence. So from January 1st to February 25th, who did you see visiting the Proudfoot residence during periods when Mr. Proudfoot was confirmed not to be home? Repeatedly in the area. So we are particularly interested in people who were not regular residents, but were seen visiting the Proudfoot residence during periods when Mr. Proudfoot was confirmed not to be home. I think you can connect a few of those dots. I know I'm connecting them in my head. Possibly a friend who would come over when Chris wasn't there. Maybe no one's accusing anyone, a male friend, maybe a female friend. We don't know, but anyone, family members, anything, if they didn't reside there, okay? Also, they're interested in people who are not regular residents that were repeatedly in the area from January 1st to February 25th. That could be family members, that could be other people, but repeatedly in the area, strangers' cars. They're also interested in people who are not regular residents, but were seen parked or walking at unusual hours from January 1st to February 25th. Now, there was a post out about someone lurking around the neighborhood around February 25th. When it was dark out. I'm going to have to find that post, and then I will submit that, because that's odd, right? If you saw someone, not a regular resident, but you saw someone watching, circling, or lingering without a clear reason from January 1st, think New Year's Day, to February 25th, or vehicles that appeared out of the ordinary for this residential area, including Uber or rideshare vehicles. My question is, could someone, possibly a family member we're going to talk about, allegedly taken an Uber into the neighborhood? I don't know. That's why I'm asking the question. Taxis, vans, especially white work vans, red work vans, rental trucks, particularly, box trucks from Home Depot, box trucks from Budget, trucks resembling moving trucks with or without logos, tractor trailers, semi trucks seen on streets or locations where large commercial trucks are rarely, if ever, present. But I do want to go back because this is what I really want to talk about first. The first one listed, visitors to or from the Proudfoot residence during periods when Mr. Proudfoot was confirmed not to be home. To me, as an English teacher, the first one's the most important. That's just my theory. So if you saw someone between January 1st and February 25th visiting the Proudfoot home during periods when Chris wasn't home, was confirmed not to be home, please report it. So trucks resembling moving trucks with or without logos, tractor trailers, semi-trucks seen on streets or locations where large commercial trucks are rarely, if ever, present. What they are trying to determine. And you all, by the way, can email me. You all may email me if you have anything that you want to share, but you may also turn it into the tip line. Thank you, Raymond, for gifting one Crime Time Buzz membership. If you received it, please thank Raymond and join us Saturday for our members only live. Welcome to the family. Thank you, Raymond. That's very sweet, very generous. And hi, Frank. I see you all asking some questions in the chat. And I will get to questions after I get done with the update. I see 5 creators. Yes, it begins January 1, Nicey. January 1 to February 25th. Happy Thanksgiving Eve to all of you. I hope you have a wonderful, blessed day. Some of you are probably already on Thanksgiving Day. Okay. Thanks, Raymond. What they are trying to determine is who the drivers or occupants were of the vehicles, whether any of the vehicles appeared more than once, whether their presence lines up with key dates and times in the timeline of Sebastian Rogers. Oops, sorry, guys. What did I just do? Sorry, y'all. There we go. Okay. Let's click on this real quick. I don't know why it's not showing it to us. This is Sebastian with his mother at the bowling alley. Now, the reason I'm focusing on this is I've showed you 2 in the parking lot. I showed you the difference in his hair length versus a little bit later, his haircut at the Texas Roadhouse. Now, the narrative from his mother said they went to pick up a niece, they went to BJ's, they went to the grocery store to get his snacks. They came home, they unpacked the snacks, they went to the Strike and Spare. He was having a wonderful time. All family who saw him that day said he was so well behaved, in such a good mood. I don't see family here. I don't see family at the Texas Roadhouse. So I'm assuming family was at the grocery store. I don't know. But if you happen to know where family happened to join them that day, please send me an email at crimetimebuzz@gmail.com. So this is them. They were there all of about. The story was they went to Strike and Spare. And I say story because stories change. Truth doesn't. KP said they went to Strike and Spare. Later on, we all found out there was a tournament going on. And then it was, well, we weren't bowling. We were in the arcade. Now we see a 10 to 15-minute drop-in. There was no arcade, nothing going on at the Strike and Spare. It does look so similar to the Tel Aviv pic. Now you see why they really thought they had spotted him in Israel, right? It really does, Doodle Mom. That's a great comment. So why we couldn't just say we went there for 10, 15 minutes, the lanes were full, we left? I don't know. Why not just say I went there to get myself on camera? Because you wouldn't, allegedly, in my opinion. Okay, so there's no arcade going on. There's nothing going on. There's a 10 to 15-minute drop-in, and you cannot see from the picture, but according to Seth and others, he looked visibly uncomfortable. Not like he was having a grand old time laughing and smiling every time we saw him in pictures or footage, like CP said. That is not the case. I don't see a smile at Texas Roadhouse. I don't see a smile here. Show me the smiles. Show me the laughter. But I digress. Let's keep going. So there is your bowling alley at the counter photo. And then let's escape out of here. Sorry, I'm just trying to show you everything. This is the flyer for Sebastian. If you have any information, please contact tips.fbi.gov. The FBI has offered up to a $50,000 reward as part of the reward. Dogs Team and At Night adding $500,000 to it for a $550,000 reward. Well, I guess it says $500,000 here, so I'm just going to leave it at that. $500,000 reward for information leading to Sebastian. If you have information, you may also call or text at night at 844-922-3236 with any tips. You can contact Dog the Bounty Hunter at mostwanted@manhunts.one. You are welcome to also call Sumner County Sheriff's Office at 615-451-3838. Please document if you get an answering machine, no call back, or are sent to a former employee's message. And also you can call TBI 1-800-TBI-FIND. What they need from the public. If you lived in, worked in, visited, delivered to, or routinely passed through Sebastian's neighborhood between January 1 and February 25th, 2024, we are asking you to recall. Number one, any unfamiliar individuals on foot or in vehicles. And I have to get them one thing that one post a neighbor sent me about someone lurking around in a short sleeve shirt somewhere in the vicinity, within a few miles, I think, or even in the neighborhood. I have to go back and look at that. Number two, any vehicles that stood out, including color, make, and type, van, pickup, box truck, semi, etc. Number four, please provide the company logos or names on the side. Distinctive features. Was there damage to the vehicle? Were there specific decals, ladder racks, unique paint, or striping? 6, approximate date and time you saw them. 7, street name, the location, street name, intersection, nearby house, or a landmark if you could provide it. 8, any partial or full license plate information. Maybe you've got the state, but didn't get the numbers. Maybe you got a couple of characters or the plate style. Maybe it's a vanity plate. Please report it. Any behavior that seemed unusual, such as idling, circling, parking without a clear reason, or in an odd place. Even details that feel small, uncertain, or insignificant on their own can become meaningful when combined with other data. How to provide information. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to come to the chat in just a second. How to provide information. The case remains unsolved. There are ongoing calls for tips and information, and At Night Creative Intelligence continues to work in support of lawful search and intelligence efforts. If you have any information about unfamiliar vehicles or individuals in Sebastian's neighborhood during the above time frame, or any detail that might help clarify what happened to Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, you are asked to call it in. And I will say this again. If you are a person who is holding on, thank you, Holly, for your sweet super sticker for $1.99. I truly appreciate that. And for your 11 months of support. Happy Thanksgiving, Jay and Chat. That's so sweet. Thank you so much. And also 1946, Pammy Bear gifted 5 Crime Time memberships. And if you receive one, thank Pammy Bear. And Pammy Bear, thank you for growing our family. We have a wonderful family, and I'll see you all there Saturday at our Members Live. Thank you so much. If you are an individual who has information, a conversation, information given to you, told to you from the command center, the search area, agents, commissioners, anything. This is your time to come forward. If you continue to wait, please understand it will be harder to tell it under oath, dragged in after a subpoena, and have to answer why you didn't speak up. If you are anyone with information, please let me remind you that in the state of Tennessee, teachers are not the only individuals who are mandatory reporters or nurses or doctors or any of the above. Every single citizen and person in Tennessee is a mandatory reporter, meaning if you suspect abuse, neglect, or something regarding a missing child, you better pick up that phone, please, because you are breaking the law if you do not, because you are a mandatory reporter. And the way things are in Sumner County, my goodness, they'll pick you up for that rather than some of the other things we see going on, in my opinion. Nicey, thank you for your super sticker. Let me move the chat here. Thank you so very much. $4.99. That's really sweet, and I truly appreciate that donation to the channel. Thank you, Nicey. Happy Thanksgiving to you, sweetie. Hey, Beth. Okay. So if you are someone harboring information or learning new information, please contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, 1-800-THE-LOST. Dog the Bounty Hunter and At Night tip line, 844-922-3236. Please reference the disappearance of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers when calling. All credible information will be logged, evaluated, and forwarded as appropriate to the proper authorities and partners involved in this ongoing effort. And that, my friends, is the update, and we're going to talk about it. It does not, sorry, the kids are jumping, does not say someone did not drive to Memphis allegedly, does not say they're done investigating, none of the above, but they received some facts. And those facts, let me share with you. Sorry, guys, I'm not sharing with you, am I? Hold on, let me share with you my slideshow. Those facts put Chris Proudfoot in Memphis, and we're going to talk about it. I'm going to give you the time frame. Let me give you the, oh, here we go. Okay. This is going to blow your mind because it blew mine. So I reached out to my confidential sources as soon as I read their update. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Daffy Dog. And Bliss, how are you? And what I did was I talked to them. I don't want to let you know if it's a male or a female because out of respect and privacy for my source, and they're a darn good one. And what the source said is Christopher Proudfoot on Sunday, February 25th, was outside at his fifth wheel at 8 p.m. and he was there well after midnight. Now you say, Jay, what was he doing standing next to his fifth wheel for 4 hours, more than 4 hours, because he was there after midnight on a cold February night when he was supposed to be on the phone. Remember? So his alibi debunks the phone call, in my opinion. Okay. That sets off a huge red flag to me. Okay. He's in Memphis. Wait till you hear what he was doing. He's in Memphis. He's at his fifth wheel from 8 p.m. to after midnight. Well, the guy didn't say he was talking on the phone, did he? No. He said he was putting skirting around his fifth wheel. And I'm going to stop you right there. 2 things. What about the phone call? Their big first 3-hour phone call that CP said was vetted by all law enforcement agencies and tracked, remember? Then it went down to about 2 hours. Then in Brandon Carter's update, it said nearly 2 hours. Well, how is that possible? He's out with both hands putting skirting all around his fifth wheel. I'm going to show you what skirting is. But in my opinion, the alibi debunks the phone call. You can't be putting skirting around a fifth wheel. It takes 2 hands and be talking on the phone all of that time, in my opinion. The reason at night said he cannot physically have been in Hendersonville is because, remember, it's 3 hours and 34 minutes door to door, or however he puts it. Okay. So if he was seen at 8 until well after midnight, he was out there. 3 hours and 35 minutes, let's say 3 hours and 30 minutes going and 3 hours and 30 minutes coming back would be 7 hours. So let's say he left at 12:15 even, okay? 7 hours would be 7:15 in the morning that he would have gotten back. And that means he didn't stop. He just drove from Memphis to Stafford Court and left. And it's not possible because according to this crane coordinator, CP superior, he was back at the work site at 5:15 in the morning. Also, I explained this is the source, the alibi source, when I talk about the source who shared the audio with me, I say they. He shared information about FBI coming and talking to him at least 2 times. He shared information that what he told the FBI, what I just shared with you, and he also let the FBI know that he would be willing to testify to these facts. I do not believe someone would lie to the FBI and offer to testify. He's a superior at the St. Jude's project, the crane coordinator for this huge project, and they have a very sophisticated surveillance system. It goes back all the way to 5 years. It doesn't erase because, and when you've got children in a hospital, you have to do that to protect. They did map out CP's movements on the 26th. They have his movements. He physically had eyes on him at the RV park. Chris was out there when he left, and he was there when he came back until after midnight. Right? So he's in Memphis. What he's doing in Memphis is a little alarming. And it would take 7 hours for him to go there and back, and he would not be able to stop at all. And that would have put him, if he left at midnight, 12:15, let's say, because he was out there till after midnight. Let's just give him 12:15 even. 7 hours. It would have been 7:15 in the morning, 2 hours after he was already in the crane. I agree, Starlito. That is true. Some people will. You're right. Hi, Kylie's Nail Candy. Good to see you. It's been a while. Hi, Caddy Collector. Justin Fernoog. And I'm going to go back to your comments after we get through some of this because I want to keep my train of thought for you. And you know me. So here it is. But it also debunks, so it provides him an alibi. He was in Memphis. But it debunks that phone call, in my opinion. Okay. Have I? Okay. Now I'm going to share with you what he said he was doing. Christopher Proudfoot's superior at St. Jude's Crane Project, which is a huge, large project, said when he drove by Chris Proudfoot at the RV park, Chris was putting skirting on his fifth wheel. I will repeat that. At 8 p.m., February 25th, Chris was putting skirting on his fifth wheel. That's important. 8 to after 12 midnight. Why in the world he was had a 4-day weekend allegedly. Oh, I forgot to ask that. He had a 4-day weekend allegedly, but he's there all Sunday, right? He's in Memphis. Why did he wait till 8 p.m.? When it was dark, sun went down at 5:37 p.m. Why did he wait till dark to do it? Why was it necessary to do it right then? And in my opinion, that's a huge red flag. And I think something was going on, allegedly, in my opinion, and he was preparing. That's just my thought. And also, when Silvers took this picture at the RV park, when he and Katie fled the neighborhood allegedly and settled in there, why didn't he take the 4.5 hours and put the skirting back on? Why isn't it on again? Right? Why was it just on then on the 25th, but then they go and they stay in the RV park and he doesn't put the skirting on? You say, Jay, what is skirting? Let me show you. Let me show you, my friends. So what skirting does is it covers the base of the RV. Let me enlarge the photos for you. So for instance, this is skirting. See how it covers the entire underneath? This is a different type of skirting. See how it covers the entire underneath? Here's a different type of skirting. See how it covers it? Here you go. You can't see anything going on underneath there, can you? I find that, in my alleged opinion, a red flag. Look at this. Now, in my opinion, someone looking for a child who's been missing and the father's been in Memphis, and I find out he doesn't go out at 8 a.m. and put skirting on, but he goes out at 8 p.m. to after midnight and puts skirting on. I'm thinking, why are we hiding the underbase of the fifth wheel allegedly? 4.5 hours, Karina the Dreamer. He started at 8 and he was there till after midnight. Why was he hiding the underbase? Underneath the underbelly. Was he hiding it? It looks like it. Skirting covers it. But I wanted to make sure you all knew what I was talking about before we went on. Look at this. This one's just got the front one on. But see how it goes around here? So 4.5 hours. Here's a good look at what it can do. You don't see anything under that fifth wheel. It hides it. So I ask you this very important question because I know you guys are good thinkers. If you tell the first reporter you speak to for your March 4th interview that the emotional roller coaster all began Sunday night, and I'm going to play that video for you. It's on my channel. There's the thumbnail if you want to go watch the whole video, because we're only going to watch a little part. Why, what was the emotional roller coaster that started Sunday night, February 25th, when Katie says everything was perfect until the 26th at 6 a.m.? What emotional roller coaster was going on? And if there was an emotional roller coaster going on, why did that provoke you to go out and put skirting on your RV? I asked Christopher Proudfoot that question with all due respect. What would provoke you when there's something going on at home that you decide to go out 2.5, 3 hours after dark and start putting skirting on the fifth wheel to conceal the underneath, allegedly? And what was that emotional roller coaster that KP has never claimed? And she was there. She says it all began at 6 a.m. on the 26th, but that is not what Christopher Proudfoot says. So let's listen to it. Put a 1 if you can hear it, because sometimes we don't hear it. Today around 6:20 a.m. I'm going back to the beginning, early days wins, for what I'm about to share with you. Sorry, guys, I have to get the timestamp. Okay, hold on. Could you hear that? We'll go here. Okay, thank you all. I'm going to continue to play it. Day around 6:20 a.m. Oh, come on,
I'm going
guys.
back to the beginning.
Got me dead in my tracks.
All started Sunday.
He's gonna look at that door, and the street will be flooded again with family and relatives all waiting to hug and love him. And
Stepdad Chris says it's been an emotional roller coaster that all started Sunday night, February 25th.
Boom. It all started.
Stepdad Chris says it's
relatives all waiting to hug and love him. And
Stepdad Chris says it's been an emotional roller coaster that all started Sunday night, February 25th.
family and relatives all waiting to hug and love him. And
Stepdad Chris says it's been an emotional roller coaster that all started Sunday night, February 25th.
I'm confused. I'm coming to questions. I will. I'm confused. What emotional roller coaster? Mom says everything was good. We were all in a good mood. Everything was happy, lovey, spaghetti pancakes. Google it, y'all. Bragging on the phone. Picked up his niece. Blah, blah, blah. Right? Favorite meal at Texas Roadhouse, which wasn't his favorite meal, in front of him. Great questions. I'm seeing great questions. So what was the emotional roller coaster, and why, when there's an emotional roller coaster going on at your home, does that set you out to your fifth wheel in the dark of the February cold night for over 4 hours putting on skirting? What was he preparing for? Why wouldn't he have put that on Sunday morning? He had the day off. Saturday morning. Why wait till 8 p.m. after they're home from the Texas Roadhouse and a possible emotional roller coaster began? It makes no sense. And when he was supposed to be on the phone with his wife, we've heard 3 hours, vetted, logged by all agencies. Then we heard, well, it was closer to 2 hours. Then we hear from Brandon Carter, nearly 2. What was going on? I'll play it one more time.
hug and love him. And
Stepdad Stepdad Chris says it's been an emotional roller coaster that all started Sunday night, February 25th.
I'm seeing lots of great questions. And after I ask this one, I'm coming to the chat to answer these questions. Great questions. And my question is, when they beat it out of the neighborhood just a few days after Sebastian went missing, out of respect for the neighbors, I'll bite my tongue. Why, when they settled into their RV park, did he not put the skirting back on? This is a picture, credit to Silver's on the scene, at the Yogi Bear RV park, the Proudfoot's actual RV, without skirting. Why didn't he put it back on? I ask myself, and I ask you. So I am going to go to some of these questions. One theory is he was waiting for someone, in her opinion, to deliver Sebastian. If you're in the bushes, I'm reading comments, right? Questions. In my opinion, someone said those RV tanks are, I'm sorry, Reptile Wildfire said those RV tanks are big too. I think they put Sebastian in it under the RV, the skirting to hide more, in my opinion. Could be. That's where my head went, allegedly. That's exactly what I'm asking Country Bumpkins 24. How did he have a 3-hour phone call with Katie if he was putting skirting on? How did he have a 2-hour phone call with Katie if he was putting skirting on? Why was he putting skirting on at 8 in the dark of the February cold night till after midnight, from 8 till after midnight? Why wasn't he doing it during the day? Why wasn't he prepared to do it? If he had planned to put skirting on, most would agree, I think, with me that he would have done it during the daylight. What became so important that that skirting had to go on in the dark of night when there was an emotional roller coaster going on at home? Some people think maybe to hide a body. Mrs. Thornton, 88, says, and then they put cameras on it after he went missing. Like, why? And why go move your RV while everyone is out searching for your child? That's more important, huh? Shaking my head. Yes. That's another thing I wanted to bring up. The person, the crane coordinator said, there were YouTubers all over St. Jude's. There were people showing up. And so they sent Chris home for 4 to 5 weeks while looking for a place for him to work where no one knew where he was. So remember during Nancy Grace when she asked him if he was working and he said, it's up in the air. And no one understood that response. Now that response kind of makes sense to me now that I hear his superior say they sent him home. And for 4 to 5 weeks, he stayed there just to get away from all of what was happening at the site. And they were looking for a location to put him that was undisclosed where people wouldn't know him. So that could be the reasoning behind his answer to Nancy Grace. It's up in the air. That could be. I'm surmising. Okay, I'm going through. Yes, he had 4-day weekend, allegedly, and I forgot to find that out from my source, and I will try and verify that. Let me see here. Texas, Teresa Pfeiffer says, Orange Wedge, no, there's no underbelly access unless he did it himself. Okay. What was going on the Saturday? Linda Davis wants to know. I don't know. Why didn't he do it Saturday? Why, when he says there was an emotional roller coaster that started that night, did that eject him out of an RV, fifth wheel, to put on skirting? Why didn't he do it during the day? Sunday night. That's right. 8 p.m. Donna B says, when you got nothing to hide, you want everyone looking and everything searched, in my opinion. Amen. Justice for Noog says, why is LE not asking for all these sightings? It's ridiculous. It seems it's not much effort from them. Well, what I can tell you is FBI was up at St. Jude's numerous times. So we know they were investigating. Can you access the underside of the RV from within the RV? Now, I never could I've had 2 RVs. I never could get underneath the RV. There's not like a door in the floor to get underneath it. You have to go outside. But I don't know if that's for all RVs, and I can Google that right now. That's a great question, Orange Wedge. Let me Google that for you. It was a Montana Sky, right? Montana, yeah. I'm even putting the kind. No, you cannot access the underside of a Montana fifth wheel from inside the RV because the entire underbelly is sealed and enclosed with a solid protective cover. The underbelly is designed to be a protected space for the RVs, and I put in fifth wheel, vital components like plumbing and tanks. If you are in the bushes, there's a lot of great questions. And so I'm going to the questions real quick before we continue about why people put on skirting. Country Bumpkins 24 says, was it the 25th that he was putting the skirting on the RV? Yes, the 25th at 8 p.m. He communicated in his first television interview to the reporter, you heard her, that there was an emotional roller coaster that began that night. Now, as you can see, a week later, he doesn't have it on his RV. Now, if it's so important to have skirting on your RV when you're parked, that you put it on when there was something emotional roller coaster going on at your home, you put it on from 8 p.m. to after midnight on a cold February night in the dark. Why, when you resettled back in, did you not re-put it up? That's my question. And that debunks the phone call. Yes, it debunks his presence at the Texas Roadhouse. Indeed. He was in Memphis that night. I'm looking for other questions. So many things possible, says Justice for Noog. Even an Adelson type setup. Who knows? If you're not familiar with the Adelson case, there was a custody battle, and there's 5 people in prison already, life in prison, for unaliving the biological father because it was a M for hire. Grandma Adelson was the mastermind. She was the last one convicted. The son, Charlie Adelson, was also convicted of hiring the person, and his girlfriend and the guy who actually did it and the guy who helped are also convicted in prison. So it was a family plot because they wanted the kids to live closer to them. 5 of them are in prison, and some people are, wondering, will there be charges for Wendy? Well, as of now, there have not been that I know of. So it could be. If you recall the Nina situation, that was very much, in my opinion, an Adelson type situation, although no one was M'd. But it was a well-oiled plan. And if you recall, Kathy went out with her brother, Duran. They flew out to New Mexico. The neighbors told Nina they were with CP making a plan to get Faith. The neighbor did not want her to let them. Kathy then went home. Duran and Kathy went home. Kathy returned. They were all moving to Tennessee, and Kathy returned to take Faith with her. The neighbors had indicated to Nina they were worried about that because there had been a plan in action. alleged, but Nina shared it all over the internet. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. Yeah, they put up cameras on it because they didn't want people bothering them. Well, how, none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense in my opinion. But that phone call is debunked. Caroline says maybe Seth notified KP he already received documentation from the courts to have Sebastian, in my opinion. I don't know. He has not shared that, so I don't know. I know he was planning to have Sebastian in May, but I do not know what went through the court systems. Someone says crappy investigation to probably no search of campers or relatives. I will tell you, Justice Vernoog, from what my sources have shared with me, the Bauer Sox home was never searched. So I can't tell you about campers with confidence. I truly cannot. Are there photos of the skirting on the RV? No, I've never seen photos. I showed you photos of generic ones, but not of theirs. No, never saw. I've not seen a photo of their RV. And when he brought it back, okay, they don't drive with the skirting on. So he would have taken it off to drive back to Hendersonville that next 24 hours later when he came. But he went to Hendersonville on the 26th. He said he arrived around 1:30, and somewhere the next day, he drove back to the fifth wheel. He was not alone. He called Nina, said we have to delay our custody case. How did he know within a day they wouldn't have found him already? They wouldn't find him before the custody case. And she said, well, Christopher, you have cameras. Okay, let's get back to it. I think I covered most. Let's see here. Did Raymond have a comment? Let me look real quick. Bliss and Raymond are talking. I just want to see if I really hate saying this. What if the 3:00 car brought Sebastian to the camper, possibly, and the skirting was to hide something? Then the switch was made and the 17-hour CP was gone, in my opinion. Bliss, I hate to say it too, but that's where my mind's going. That's why I tried to say, don't get all upset about that update, because it doesn't mean an idea isn't someone drove to Memphis. I do not have a picture of his RV with skirting on. I do not. I wish his superior had taken one. Tully's Terrible Twist. I really do. And welcome in, by the way. Hi, Reptile Wildfire. So it brings up a lot of questions, right? Why isn't it back on when they're back there? Why did he do it? Didn't he do it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday during the days? Why, when he says there was an emotional roller coaster at home, does he start putting skirting around his fifth wheel? Why does he need people to go back with him? Why does he leave his wife instead of just calling the people? And he says, well, I thought I was going to lose my job. I don't care. If your child's missing and you've been staying in RV parks for a while because you're living there, you have a working relationship with them, and they would know. All you have to do is call in your credit card. I'm going to be in there in a few days, but here. You don't leave your wife, who's allegedly upset like I would be if my child were missing. You wouldn't take people with you, her support system, right? But he did, and they stayed overnight. I think, and I've told you, and I'm going to say it again, I believe, because think about it, before Sebastian went missing, the media didn't have photos of CP's RV. So when he went up with the people he went up with and left, they all left KP, the alleged mourning mom, because she doesn't know where her kid is, allegedly. Let's talk through this. Why would he take people with him? Why would they stay overnight instead of racing home? So here's my thought. The RV that was at the park on the 25th, we never would have seen it before Sebastian went missing. So when they went up and got that RV, in my opinion, whatever they did, whatever went on underneath that fifth wheel, excuse me, it's a fifth wheel, not an RV. Whatever they did that went on, whatever he did, putting the skirting on, because in my opinion, there's a reason for that. Okay. Why in the world? So here's what I think. They went up there, they did what they were doing, they did what they had to do. The RV media had never seen was picked up, taken to the Bowersox home. The Bowersox fifth wheel was taken to Stafford Court as Proudfoot's own. And the one at Bowersox was taken to Rosenbaum's out in, where are they from? Oregon, excuse me, where they posted it April 22nd for sale. KP's family. And then the Sox went on their little journey, even though their step grandchild was missing. That's my theory. That is only a theory. I believe what Bliss is saying is where my mind is starting to head. When you hear a man's in the dark of night scrambling to get a skirt on there, a 3 a.m. car pulls up, flashlights, Sebastian's gone. Something's strange. But the thing I do want to say is the skirting is concerning because what would you hide under there? You wouldn't be hiding a live child under there. Okay, so it does alarm me. It really does. I looked, Caroline, at the units at Beach Storage. They will barely fit a compact car in. Some compact cars could be fit in it, but they couldn't pull a whole RV in. What you can do at Beach Storage, unit number 10, where the cadaver dogs hit numerous times, what you can do is you can drive up to, there's many units there that you can drive up to. If you are a local, I would love for you to, if one of you would be willing to drive by Beach Storage, look at unit number 10 and let me know if that's a unit a car can drive up to or back into. Just even halfway back into. But if any of you would be willing just to find the location of where unit 10 is for me and show me on the like a little map, I would really appreciate that. Let's keep going, friends. It's really hard to listen to, I know. Wild Child says, Raymond, I agree. He said he had to move the fifth wheel, so why would you skirt it just days before it had to be moved? Because he did not know it. Here's how I think of it. He could say, well, I didn't know I was going to be losing my job, right? But you wouldn't do it at 8 p.m. in the dark on a cold February night and be out there till after midnight with no lights. What you would do is on your 4-day weekend, alleged, you would do it during the day. Even if you had a 2-day weekend, you would do it during the day if you had planned to do it. In my opinion, the only thing that would put you out there at 8 p.m. was an unplanned emergency, and that is my alleged opinion. Beach Storage is not big enough for an RV. No, not to pull into a unit. It says the sizes, there's 24-hour surveillance and camera surveillance, 24-hour access. You can access your units at any time. But the size of them, I took the size, Googled if a compact car could fit in there. One Google search, it was like a tight squeeze, but barely if it was a very compact car. But that doesn't mean you couldn't back a vehicle into and it halfway sticking out, and you're pulling things out of the trunk or the back doors, allegedly, in my opinion. But I really want to find out if anyone can find out for me the location of that unit. Please, no self-promoting in the chat, please. Thank you so much, my friends. I'm going to start putting that on the entry when you leave comments. I just haven't had a chance to do it. I love all of your work, but we're here right now for this, my work, and Sebastian. Thank you all. I just find it really suspicious, the timing, and he was supposed to be on the phone talking to his wife. Now, why would you talk for 3 hours, 2 hours, and he needs 2 hands to do the skirting? It makes no sense to me. Let's keep going. Okay, I played that for you. And I already asked you, why was it not on after February 25th when they were at the RV park together after Sebastian went missing? Why didn't they park? And once they got it all set up, he said, I want my skirting back on. There it is, without skirting. Okay. So I did a little Googling on skirting. And I'm going to share with you what I learned. And if you know anything else, please feel free to put it into the chat. We're learning together, and I need your help on this, you all. We need vehicle identity. If any of you have the post from Facebook where it says there was a guy around that night in a green short sleeve or in a short sleeve t-shirt hiding behind a light post, if you could send that to me, thank you. I have it. It'll just take me a little bit to pull up. If you know of any vehicles in the area from January 1st on, any weird people lurking around, any of the above, please report it to the proper authority to at night. Okay, so you don't drive with your skirting on your fifth wheel. It's temporary, removable material installed when you are parked, in cold weather especially. Skirting's designed to be easily removed, so you can just hitch up and drive. So another thing, I've challenged him on needing 24 hours to load up his RV. Well, you know, a guy needs 24 hours, needs some time. It takes time to load up an RV. Bull. I've had 2. It doesn't take 24 hours and more than one person to go up and break down an RV, especially when the individual all by his little lonesome put all that skirting up. That was the hard part in the dark of night. Why? And it's telling us right here, it's designed to be easy to move. Why does he need all those people? You latch your cabinets, you latch your fridge, you take everything off the counters, you drain your tanks, and off you go. And you take off this very easy skirting you put on maybe less than 24 hours before. But it's easy to be removed. You don't need to bring the whole family, so you can hitch up and drive. It is essential to take it off before traveling to prevent damage to both the skirting and the fifth wheel. Let me turn my phone off. And I'll ask again, was he putting on skirting? Apparently he was, from an eyewitness. So in my opinion, he was not on the phone. Or if they were on the phone, he was doing skirting while they were on the phone and things were being discussed, in my opinion, about maybe the emotional roller coaster going on at home. That could be. Why do people put skirting on? Let's talk about it. Insulation and weather protection. So it traps warm air in. So it would make sense. Okay. I'm not sure why he didn't do it in November, December, or January in the cold months while he was living up there, right? If you want to trap warm air in, you're going to do it in the coldest months, November, December, January. Why end of February, right when spring is coming? The skirts create a buffer zone of trapped air underneath the RV, which acts as an insulator to keep the floor warmer in winter and cooler in the summer. Why was that not done the whole time he was there? Why would he just suddenly think to do it in the dark of the cold night on the night Sebastian was last seen? That he defines his own words, according to a reporter, as being the night the emotional roller coaster began. It prevents freezing by keeping pipes and tanks from being exposed to freezing temperatures. Skirts help maintain a functional water system during cold water. And by the way, don't go anywhere because we're going to be talking Melissa here in a little bit, and I need your help. Hi, Laura. Hi, crazy country gal. I need your help. Minnie, thank you. Okay, so if he's trying to prevent freezing by putting up his skirts, again, why didn't he do it November, December, January in the coldest months that he says he had? Remember, he wasn't coming home. Why wasn't he doing that? To keep, when it's cold, to keep it from freezing. It protects the underbelly components. Skirts shield plumbing tanks and wire from wind, rain, snow, and debris, which can help reduce maintenance and repair costs. And again, if you want your skirts up, that's your business. But why didn't you do it all those cold months, those snowy months, those snowy days, those rainy days, those windy days? But on February 25th at 8 p.m., he needed it. In my opinion, and I'm asking a question, why was he preparing his fifth wheel? What was he preparing his fifth wheel for on the very night his stepson, was last seen? If it's for weather protection, in my opinion, he would have done it before. He'd been out there, remember, for months. Not coming back. I haven't seen him since this time. I haven't been home since then. Well, why weren't your skirts up? Hi, Joanne. And these are just my thoughts. You all may have different thoughts, and please put them in the chat because I will come back before we get to the Melissa and we'll wrap this up with your thoughts and questions as well. Comfort and aerodynamics is another reason they put up skirts. It increases comfort by reducing drafts and keeping the floor warmer. Skirts make the living space more comfortable, especially in cold and windy conditions. Provides aerodynamic benefit. Well, let's talk about that first. It increases comfort. So again, you want your floors warmer, your living space more comfortable. You've been up there for months in the winter weather and your skirts aren't up. But by golly, February 25th on a cold night when Sebastian's running around without a jacket, allegedly, or shoes, allegedly, we're putting up our skirts in the dark of night when we say we're on a phone call chatting with our wife. Well, you don't drive with the skirts on. Hey, Woman's Warrior, you don't drive with the skirts on. So he had to take them off, which we just read. It's very easy to take them off. You don't have to take a whole family, right? Provides aerodynamic benefits. For commercial trailers, skirts are often used to reduce aerodynamic drag by preventing wind from going under the trailer. While less of a factor for fifth wheels, okay, this can still have a minor positive impact on fuel efficiency when towing. Oh, interesting. So were we getting ready to tow the fifth wheel? I don't think so. Not that we've been told. But otherwise, for fifth wheels, it's not much of a reason for aerodynamics. So I'll ask again. When your house is having an emotional roller coaster, last night your child's seen, you've had Saturday and Sunday for sure off, allegedly Thursday and Friday. What propelled you out that door of that RV into the dark night with no light, instead of doing it during the day, to put up skirting and debunk a phone call, allegedly, in my opinion? Was something being prepared, allegedly? We're not accusing anyone. We are asking questions that are important. Also helps tire and tire life. It protects the tires, the skirting does. By covering the tires when the RV is parked, skirts help protect them from the sun's UV rays, which can cause dry rot and premature cracking. And it extends the tire life. This protection can significantly slow down the drying out process, extending the lifespan of the tires. And I will ask again, he was up there for months. Why didn't he have that skirting on to protect those tires the whole time? He wasn't moving his fifth wheel. He was moving his truck to the job site. He was taking his truck to the job site, not the fifth wheel. So why not put the skirting on the whole time you're there and protect your tires? Why suddenly, February 25th, if you're trying to protect your tires, are you doing it in the dark of night in the cold of winter? When there's an emotional roller coaster going on at home. Hey, Nick, how are you? Thank you for the donation, buddy. Happy Thanksgiving. Good to see you. Appreciate you. It just doesn't make sense. Rachel, great point. Maybe he wanted to attract attention and be seen on camera. That was a theory that I had. Maybe he wanted everyone to see him on camera between 8 and after midnight. Because if you make sure you're on camera, which they have cameras there, if you make sure you're on camera from 8 to after midnight and you're in the crane at 12:50 or 5:15 in the morning, it's virtually impossible to get 7.5 hours, 7 hours down the road and back. So he wanted to be seen on camera so everyone knew he was in Memphis. Why? That's just a theory. We're not accusing anyone. We're going over theories. Because it just doesn't make sense. Other benefits. It improves accessibility. Some skirts include a zippered door. Some skirts include a zippered door, providing easy access to the hitch and under storage areas without having to remove the entire skirt. So, what that tells me is if you needed to put something under your fifth wheel, allegedly, I'm not accusing, and you didn't want it, you wanted to just be able to slip it in there, you lift the zipper, slide it in there, and zip it down, and no one sees what's underneath there, in my opinion. Skirts can provide a more finished and uniform look to an RV. And again, if he was looking for an aesthetically pleasing look, that would have been on there for months, in my opinion. Not the night an emotional roller coaster was happening at home. His words, not mine. Okay. And not going out in the dark, cold winter night instead of during the daylight when you were off all weekend. Allegedly, which he was. Okay. Now it's time to talk motive. So Chris being in Memphis, let's talk about this. I shared with you that the superior had a conversation with Chris. Chris was planning on leaving Katie and the marriage. So I'm going to ask this question to you, and I'm not being facetious. I'm really asking it. If Chris was not in Hendersonville, which is fact now, he was in Memphis, got himself on camera from 8 to after midnight. His superior confirmed it, and in the crane at 5:15, they tracked his movements all morning until they sent him home. He stayed home for 4 to 5 weeks while they tried to find another location for him because they were swarmed with FBI, YouTubers, you name it. And that may be the reason he told Nancy Grace his job was up in the air. He wasn't sure where they were sending him at that point. They wanted to send him to a different location. Hi, hey, Jude. Okay. So, question. If he is in Memphis, he has absolutely, this is a theory, nothing to do with what is going on at home. Let's just say this, okay? And he's planning on leaving Katie. If something terrible went on at home, who would Chris Proudfoot protect? I have a hard time believing he would be putting his neck out for a wife he was about to leave. That is my opinion. I think he would protect family. I'm not accusing family. I'm just trying to put pieces together in light of this new information. So I want to start with Melissa. Let's talk Melissa. Motive. Melissa, if you ever heard, and I'm going to come back on Friday with a video on Melissa, or maybe a live, we'll see, on Melissa. So I will share more of the things that she's posted and said, but right now I'm going to tell you about them. Melissa is Chris Proudfoot's sister. She has a niece she has a child. She has 2 children, lives in the area. She was at Sebastian's birthday party. And you remember the audio. Many of you were very, very, very upset with the way Melissa spoke to Sebastian at his very own birthday party. He was so excited. They were doing that game where they were dropping a disc and seeing what number it goes into. And Sebastian was so excited. His cousin's turn came and Melissa's child, and he says, get this number, because he's excited. It's his birthday, Melissa. And she goes, she can do whatever she wants. Don't talk to her like that. She can do whatever she wants. Don't talk to her like that, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. We'll go back and listen to it in a few days. Her tone regarding Sebastian was horrid. You all know it. You emailed me about it. We discussed it. We discussed it. Second of all, Melissa is the one who wrote that very odd post on Facebook right after Sebastian went missing, saying, well, what if he crawled into a car, fell asleep, a vehicle, fell asleep, the person got up, went to work, didn't know Sebastian was in the vehicle. Sebastian woke up, didn't say anything. When the person went in the office, he got out and he ran. That's an oddly specific and odd statement. It caught my attention, and it's still there. Another one. KP in the audio with the PI. When the PI says, and so you picked up Melissa's daughter, she said, I never said I picked up Melissa's daughter. I never said that. You leave them alone. She's been through enough. Why? Why has Melissa's daughter been through enough? Why has she been through enough? These are questions we need to start asking ourselves. And let's not forget, she was the person who Nina said told Chris when he lost custody of Faith and Nina was leaving with Faith to go meet her father down the road. She told Chris to back over them. Now, mind you, Nina had her other children with her and baby Faith in her arms. And she said, run them over, back over them. Melissa was also the person when Kathy didn't return Faith. Once they all moved to Tennessee and there was this big plot to get Faith, allegedly, according to Nina, and I believe her. When Nina's daughter was in the hospital, Kathy wouldn't watch her other child, not her blood. So that went to Chris's father. That child went to Chris's father, and baby Faith went to Kathy and Terry. When Nina made it home from the hospital, let's not forget, Melissa's the one, according to Nina, who alerted the process server that she was home to be served with papers for custody of Faith. She was part of the plan. Would it be such a far alleged opinionated reach to say she was possibly part of this plan? I don't know. But I do know her tone makes it real clear how she felt about Sebastian. She also posted on Facebook after Sebastian had been missing for a while, why am I being blamed for the behavior of a 15-year-old? I don't like that tone. I don't like the way she was speaking of a child who was missing. So that is why we are choosing Melissa tonight. And I have questions for you, things I am legitimately looking for answers for. And the reason, Melissa, remember I said in one of our last lives, when KP says she went to bed at night with the doors locked, woke up in the morning to the doors locked. There's no sign, according to Sonny Weatherford. They saw him enter and he never left. So Sebastian's not the one who left. He didn't walk out on his own. She said on Nancy Grace, only immediate family had keys or codes to the home. I later found out from a source that was Katie, Chris, Sebastian, Kathy Bowersox, and Melissa Proudfoot, and individual who cleaned the house, have access. So by Katie saying, I have no idea what happened, and the doors are all locked at night, locked in the morning, law enforcement says Sebastian was not seen leaving on his own. He wasn't seen leaving on his own. Then, in my opinion, KP, and Chris is in Memphis, and KP saying it wasn't me, I was sleeping, then we have Melissa and Kathy Bowersox and a house cleaner. So we're beginning with Melissa tonight. How would they arrive, allegedly? Because no cars came or went after the Texas Roadhouse. So if someone else entered that home, how did they get there? Brandon Carter put out a statement. No other cars came and went after they got home from the Texas Roadhouse from their home. So how did someone enter? How did someone get there? No cars came or went after Texas Roadhouse, and that leaves KP alone. So someone with access had to sneak in and get him and relock the house because they knew how. Because KP, remember, she's asleep. I already went over you the reasons I'm brainstorming on Melissa right now. That birthday audio was so demeaning and rude. She put that weird post about maybe he crawled into a car and fell asleep and someone drove and went to work and Sebastian woke up, got out, and he's lost. Also, why am I being blamed for the behavior of a 15-year-old? I don't like that tone. 4, telling Nina to allegedly run over her and the kid, CP to allegedly run over Nina and the kids with the car. That's a big statement, and that shows who you are, in my opinion. And 5, alerted the process server Nina was home, involved allegedly in the plan to take Faith. And so was Duran went out there with CB, and the neighbors said that they were there. In their opinion, they told Nina to make a plan with CP to get Faith. So we talk. Who allegedly let someone in? If KP did not take Sebastian out, it would have been someone with access to the home. No sign of breaking and entering. So it had to be someone with access, or KP opened the door for someone. And she's claiming she's sick. The codes to the door, right? Another thing I'm brainstorming about. CP, KP, Sebastian, and Kathy and Melissa are the ones who had access with the codes, and Sebastian didn't have a key, but could get into the locked house, and a house cleaner. So if no cars came and went, I have 2 theories. And I'm only plugging Melissa into this theory because we're talking about Melissa tonight. The aunt who didn't, her tone of voice said it all. Did allegedly Melissa take an Uber into the neighborhood? There was an Uber spotted. We've heard from neighbors, oh, that was this person, that was that person. We've never heard from law enforcement that Uber was picking someone up from the airport. We've never heard from law enforcement any of it. So could that have been allegedly, never accusing anyone, just theorizing, speculating? Could that be that whoever did this, and in this theory, we're brainstorming Melissa, could she have taken an Uber into the neighborhood? Could that have been her in the Uber, jumped out, ran through the backyards? Could be one way. Or did allegedly Melissa ride home at some point in the day with KP? She was with KP during the day and Sebastian and the niece and other family members, like a little Sunday fun day. I wonder how often they do that. If anyone knows that answer, could you let me know? How often does the entire family gather on a weekend without Chris on a weekend, all centered around Sebastian's favorites? His favorite restaurant with his favorite meal, which wasn't what was photographed in front of him, his favorite place to go to bowl and play games, which they did not do. They didn't bowl, they didn't play games, they just went to the counter, which I showed you the picture when we first started. BJ's, because he loves colossal popcorn, which doesn't exist. It's a colossal pretzel. And getting his favorite snacks. Did law enforcement take that receipt and make sure snacks were purchased and in the cabinet? Because Brandon Carter says in the FBI update, he didn't take any food, money, shoes, or his phone. So did they compare that receipt for the snacks from that day and check the cabinets? I'm asking questions. We're brainstorming. And if you know the answers, put them in the chats. But she was with KP and Sebastian during the day. Could she have ridden home sometime during the day with KP and stayed at the house, allegedly, in my opinion, while KP and Sebastian went to Texas Roadhouse and Strike and Spare? It's a question, and I really think we need to think about that. Could she have ridden home with them at some point and stayed in the home while KP finished Sunday Fun Day? And I'm going to go back to the chat and see your thoughts. While KP finished Sunday Fun Day with Sebastian, what do you think? Okay, let's go back. I'm going to the chat now if you're in the bushes to see if we have any answers. Oh, I know, Nicey. I know the older one can drive. He's out of the house, stays in some of their properties. I do know she is school-aged, but I don't know her exact age. Nicey. Nicey, if you're in the chat, is asking how old Melissa's daughter is. I will find that out. I'm writing it down right now. I'm going to start writing down questions because we're brainstorming. And if he was in Memphis, would he show that loyalty to a wife he was about to leave to get involved in all of this malarkey? No, not in my opinion. Does he seem like that loyal guy to you? Not in my opinion. His loyalty is with what? His family. So we're brainstorming a family member today because I cannot believe he would insert himself if he with and be so loyal to KP, the wife he was ready to leave, get a fresh start. I'm done. So I'm sorry, I'm trying to find my pen. I'm not at my normal office because we got people here. I've got people over. So let me get a pen. Hold on one second, my friends. And I'm coming to you all with some other questions too. So could Melissa have ridden home during the day? Where was Melissa specifically? What part of that day was included Melissa? What part of that day? The department store? Well, what department store? Brandon Carter talks about a department store visit that day. Was that where the haircut was got? Possibly the black and white matching shoes KP and Sebastian were wearing? But what part of the day included Melissa? And now we also, a great question, how old is the niece? Great question. And remember, she's been through enough. Leave her alone. So I'm curious, what did the niece go through? regarding this. Questioning, did she see something? Did she hear something that upset her? Was she questioned a lot? I don't know. The Bowersox home allegedly was never even searched. Was Melissa's home searched? Does anyone know the question to that? Was Melissa's home searched? Was her vehicle searched? I'm writing it down as we talk. Could she have ridden home with KP at some point of their interaction during the day and stayed at the home while KP was at Texas Roadhouse? Could she have snuck into the home? She has access. I'm not accusing Melissa. I'm just brainstorming. Well, they were not home. Could she have taken an Uber in earlier in the day? Later in the night? I don't know. These are the things we need to start thinking about, because I'm telling you this, in my opinion, he wouldn't have had that kind of loyalty to insert himself like this in this kind of a situation and get involved for a wife he was leaving. He had his one foot out the door. He told his superior that. So what part of the day exactly was Melissa present? I think that's really important, because she could have ridden home. She could have stayed at the house. And when they went out to dinner, she was still in the home, allegedly. Now I have another question for you. Does Melissa go to Freedom Church with her parents? Do any of you know that answer? If you do, let me know. And also, Tyler Feller, a pastor of that church, who is also a true crimer YouTuber, who doesn't cover Sebastian's case, even though he's local and the grandparents attend his church. Does Melissa know Tyler Feller? Do any of you have that answer? I find it odd. I've done a video on Tyler. I used to watch Tyler back during Gabby Petito, and he covered Riley Strain from the area. He covered the manhunt of the whites. Remember the guard white who got out, the convict white, and they went on the run, and there was a huge manhunt. He was covering that, but he doesn't cover the stepson of grandparents who attend the church. I find it interesting. Does Melissa have a relationship in any way with Tyler Feller? Does she know him? Do they go to church together? Are they friends? If anyone knows that, please email me. Also, does anyone know specifically what vehicle Melissa drives? If anyone knows what vehicle Melissa drives, we would greatly appreciate the information. Does Melissa have an alibi for that night? Does Melissa have an alibi from 6:24 p.m. when they were leaving the Texas Roadhouse to 6 a.m. in the morning? Has anyone heard I'm coming to the chat for answers. I'm just getting these questions out. 6:25 p.m. when they left Texas Roadhouse. And I say that because there's been alleged rumors there was a stop. There's been alleged rumors someone was in the car with her. There's been a lot. Okay. 6:25 p.m. to 6 a.m. Does anyone know what Melissa's alibi is? Where she was? Was she ever asked where she was? Was her home searched? Her parents weren't, allegedly. Was Melissa's house searched? If you're in the bushes, I'm going to the chat to see if we have any answers to the questions I just asked. Brenda Sue, I am praying to goodness that the housekeeper who had access to the house was interviewed, especially since the house was clean as a whistle by the time law enforcement showed up. So that should have triggered them Do you have a housekeeper? Yes, we do. I would like to speak to them. So hopefully that housekeeper, because they walked into a crystal clean house. Let me make it crystal clear. Their house was crystal clean. So that should have triggered investigators to ask, do you have a housekeeper? Why is the house so clean? When did they last come? So I will try and find that out to see if the housekeeper was ever interviewed. Great question. Thank you so much, Brenda Sue. Let's see here. Sherry says, a Sebastian Army fort needs to be set up with conference meetings and a Zoom meeting. Oh, okay. Like a little panel where we can talk privately, you mean, Sherry? Okay, I'm putting that down too. Gotcha. I can try and think of arranging something like that after this holiday weekend, Sherry. I think that's a good idea because then you guys can, I won't release it and it would be private. Okay, Crazy Country Gal says it's not been mentioned in my remembering. I thought GH was Melissa, CP's sister with cancer who died supposedly, so I'm lost. Oh, no, Karina the Dreamer. Melissa is, okay, Green Hoodie. Originally, people were saying it was Chris's some step sister or relative, remember? But they didn't mean Melissa Peafoot. Melissa Peafoot, whose last name is not Proudfoot anymore, it begins with an S. I'm not going to, we all know what it is. Sven. Svensson. Right, is not the one who people thought had passed away as a Proudfoot who looked like the Green Hoodie. Okay. Excuse me. Hold on. Good questions. However, Green Hoodie is not identified, is thought to be from eyewitnesses a woman who went into the woman's bathroom. Dancing Queen. I vote for me to have 5 minutes alone with KP. And Sherry said she had already said GH. Yes, I understood your question. And they were two different people. I would pop Melissa up here, but hit your notification bells. I'll have her up on Friday. I'll get you an image of her. Was she at Texas Roadhouse? Not that we know of. Reptile Wildfeather says someone was left in the home while KP was out. Then they both carried or lured Sebastian to the 3 a.m. car. The scratch marks on CP, the RV, and hidden under RV skirting in tank, in my opinion. Oh, wow. You just put the whole show together in your own theory. That's amazing. I'm taking a screenshot of it. Thank you, Reptile Wildfire. Very plausible. We're not accusing anyone. Again, we're theorizing, trying to find a child who has not been home for far too long. I have photos of her. Thank you so much, Sherry. I appreciate you. Tully's Terrible Twist says, I don't know if I trust this superior. Well, let me say this. I thought the same thing until I heard him say with my own ears, and I've told FBI, who's been here a few times, that I'm even willing to testify to these facts. So even saying that on an audio, he would get in trouble. So he's taking putting his neck out if he weren't telling the truth. So I believe the information he shared, they mapped his whereabouts during the day that morning on the 26th with their security cameras, which is very sophisticated, goes back 5 years. They don't erase them. They're very sophisticated. They tracked all of his movements around St. Jude's that day. And he saw him personally at the RV park where he stays too, starting at 8 p.m. when he was leaving, CP was putting on the skirt, putting on his skirts, and was there till after midnight when he came back, putting on his skirts. Hi, Kitty Hawk. A war room, the round table. Okay. Okay. I'm writing it down, my friends. That's a great suggestion. I'm writing that down for you. Family affair with help, in my opinion. Okay. Caroline says, in my opinion, Tyler is a bad egg. I've thought this since Idaho 4 case. He's not genuine, in my opinion. I stopped watching him because some things bothered me. She went there like her first live. I'm not sure what that means, Rachel. I'm not sure what you mean there, hon. He never prayed in church either. Tyler didn't pray in church. Okay. Thank you, Passion Flower, for sharing that. Hey, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while, my friend. Karina the Dreamer says, I lost respect for him. I cannot recall, but it was a strong-willed decision I made. I did the same thing, Karina. I stopped watching too. Okay, here we go. The day TL, which is another creator, so we're not going to say her name, and I appreciate you, Ebony-2U, for saying the initials. Thank you so much. The day TL met CP and KP for the first time, TL said that CP was driving Melissa's car. A maroon-colored car with a handicap tag, I believe. Thank you for that information, my friend. Do you happen to know if it was a maroon-colored van? Or was it a car? And who's handicapped in in her immediate family? Does anyone know if that was a car or a van or an SUV? Kitty Hawk, will you do me a favor? Kitty Hawk saying she screenshotted the bites on the marks on CPS, Chris Proudfoot's arm, and it definitely looks like a full bite mark that matched Sebastian's, in my opinion. Can you do me a favor and send me to crimetimebuzz@gmail.com your images? I gave them to a nurse out in Arizona, and she didn't return them to me, and I really do want those because I want to add some more medical expertise to that and bring forth to what they say. So if you could send me those screenshots, please, crimetimebuzz@gmail.com. Yes, I've heard this. Okay, so Nancy Grace interview, KP arrived home around 9 p.m. The way I went back and listened, Nicey, after you said that. The way Nancy says that, she says, okay, so you get home, it's 9 p.m., he goes to bed. So I'm not sure that what's being said is he arrived home at 9 p.m. and Katie agrees to that. And Sonny said he saw him go in and take out the trash and all that. So, and it was before 9. Sonny said he thought 6:20, but he didn't have his notes in front of him because he wasn't supposed to do that interview with the private eye. Brandon Carter was, but didn't. So Sonny stepped in and did it. That's why he didn't have that detail. But I just go back and listen to it again, Nicey. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're both hearing it, but the way she said it is, okay, so you left the Texas Roadhouse. It's 9 o'clock. You get home. It's 9 o'clock. He goes to bed. And so I don't think she was saying you got home at 9 o'clock. You get home. It's 9 o'clock and he goes to bed. That's how I took it, Nicey. But, I'll listen to it again and we can talk about that. Let's keep going here. Karina the Dreamer, if you heard the audio from Sebastian's birthday party, where it was like a game show birthday party, and you hear an aunt going, she can do her whatever she wants, leave her alone. That's Melissa. That's the aunt. Hit the notification bell, and Friday I will show you her picture. Teach, in my opinion, this isn't about protecting his sister. I think since he was once CPS had abuse on, he had to have solid alibi, in my opinion, premeditated. Absolutely. You're right. Great point. Great point. And he has his alibi. Oh, so you're saying it's something premeditated that he stayed in Memphis with, so he would have nothing to do with it, allegedly just putting the skirts on and preparing for the 3 a.m. car arrival. Is that kind of where you're going with that, Minnie? Allegedly, in your opinion? And then possibly CB was the scout at at Warsham's, allegedly. I agree, in my opinion. Yes, Linda. She was with him. You're right. Great question from Linda Nunley. Jay, wasn't Melissa with KP and Sebastian at BJ's or Costco? Now, KP said she picked up her niece on Sunday. Then they were all together. And even all of the family said he was smiling and having a good time that day. I don't see pictures of family at Strike and Spare. I don't see pictures of family at Texas Roadhouse. So BJ's was Sunday, Costco on Saturday. So, and then Brandon had brought up a department store. I don't know if he meant the grocery store where she got her snacks. I mean, I've got that on my question. What part of the day was Melissa present with Sebastian and Katie? Did she jump in a car and ride home? Close the garage door. Melissa goes into the home and doesn't come out. Sebastian and KP come out and go to Texas Roadhouse. Alleged theory. Great question. So I don't know, Linda, if she was at Costco was the day before, but I don't know if she was at BJ's that day, but I was told no. So I guess it's the department store. They were all wonderfully having a good time. We'll have to go. I'll listen to some stuff before Friday, and that's a great question because we need to know what part of the day she was involved in. Okay. Sherry says, S7I, I need to stop doing that and reaching out to everybody because I've seen some new channels speaking up and giving more information. I promise I will make my list of notes and I will email them. Perfect. Thank you, Sherry. I appreciate that. Minnie says, and all of you, Minnie's writing in all caps because she's having eye surgeries. Minnie, I hope everything's going well and you're healing well. I've always said find that RV that was sold. That RV was sold April 22nd, as far as I'm concerned, by the Rosenbaums out in Oregon. Or were they in Washington when they sold it? I'll pull that up on Friday too, but it was April 22nd, either for $35,000 or $45,000. I think a switcheroo went on. This new info makes me think the skirting was so he could put a body in a water tank without being seen, likely the dirty water. Oh dear. Okay, water tank. I'm writing that down. Thank you. Great thinking. This is all alleged. We are brainstorming and theorizing. No one is being accused, but we are looking at an individual who has access to the locked house because the locked house was still locked in the morning, according to KP. She was asleep. She didn't let anyone in, according to her. So there's two other people, CB and Melissa. CP was in Memphis. So Melissa and Kathy Bowersox had access to the house. It wasn't Sebastian because law enforcement saw him go in and he never came out. So that leaves KP, Melissa, and Kathy Bowersox, who could have entered and exited without breaking and entering. Okay. I've always said that RV, yeah, the dirty water. Oh, goodness, Minnie. That's a great theory, though. You have brought up that RV many times. You are right. So she wasn't having a birthday for her daughter that I know of, but she attended Sebastian's birthday and there was an audio and her tone with him was very demeaning. Brenda wants to know, was there a creator at Texas Roadhouse, in my opinion? You mean at the same time Sebastian was last there? Not that I'm aware of, no. Not that I know of. if you have heard anything like that, send me an email. I'd love to hear about it. Passion Flower wants to know, how big is that water tank? Ours isn't big enough for a person. Okay, so I'm going to Google it for you right now. Great questions. Okay, let me Google here. So you said he was driving when TL met CP and KP. CP was driving Melissa's maroon colored car with a handicapped tag, you believe. Okay. Who's handicapped in her family? And was it a SUV car or van? Thank you. What was the name of the brand again? I don't have it in front of me. I just spaced it. How long? Fifth wheel water tanks are not even large enough for a child to crawl in. They are designated to hold water. Now, I just put for a child to crawl in because I was thinking size, because even if Sebastian, well, let me ask it another way. Great questions, you all. The dirty water tank I'm trying now. Let's see. Let me see. I'll just ask the size of it. What size is the black water tank in a fifth wheel? 40 to 60 gallons. I want the length. Give me the length. Okay, so I can check in a specific RV's manual to find out the size of their tanks, and I will do that before Friday. So we need Melissa's picture you want, and we want the size of the tanks. Got it. We will have that. I'm still going to be on tomorrow, but I'll need time to prepare for this one with you all. So that's why I'm saying Friday. Hi, Christy. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Debbie. Let's see. Great questions. Donna says the whole RV story is sus, in my opinion. Yes, I agree. It's weird. You don't leave your wife and take the whole family, basically, allegedly, and deal with that when there's a search and a missing child. Who was the additional person at the house when Seth went to the home that morning? Was it KP's friend? Yes, KP's friend, Lori. We don't know where her husband, John, was. They are both in the Navy. And there's also their son who has disabilities as well. His name begins with an E, who is good friends with Sebastian. Why that was left out that she was around and those boys are good friends, I don't know about that either. But there's several of us who've been trying to figure out if the husband, John, was with them and went home early after Sebastian disappeared and took his son with him, so Lori could stay with KP, or something else. That is one thing that I do have on my list to be trying to find out. And I will ask at night if they know that, or if I'll send some questions out. Okay. Yes, and Mama Socks was there wanting to know from CP what jewelry he was going to get her. A very odd conversation again when a child is missing. Why would you stand there and be talking about jewelry you want the stepfather of the child to get you? I find some of the behavior is just so odd, in my opinion. Yep. Where's the snacks? Yes, did they check the snacks from the receipt? She made a big deal. He loves his snacks. We went and got his favorite snacks. He had his favorite dinner at his favorite restaurant. He loves going to Strike and Spare and bowling and playing games, all of which is pretty much fallen apart because he didn't have his favorite dinner. He wasn't bowling. He didn't go to the arcade. He didn't get colossal popcorn. It doesn't exist. It's a colossal pretzel. I mean, and now this 3-hour phone call that's now 2 hours where we now find out during that same time frame, he's putting skirting on his fifth wheel, which we saw covers the underbelly. Can't even see it. I showed you all the pictures. Anything under there, you're not going to see. Great questions going on over here. Creator and First Live, she went to church. What church, Rachel? Creator and First Live, she went to church. Will you tell me what church? Are you talking about Freedom Church, Rachel? Oh, one of the first, Freedom Church. One of the first, when passing out flyers, she went there, asked for him, and then covered the phone and dropped the live. Okay. Thank you. And Passion Flower says storage cubbies are big enough. I think it was him siding with that cuckoo, hateful PI that Candace hired on the farmer kid in Utah. Oh, brain cramp on name, but anywho. Okay. You guys, I'm trying to read all of these. Why buy snacks if they had cameras on the fridge so he would not sneak them? Great point. One thing I did hear from sources is that KP or CP bought snacks for himself, but he, with his own money, allegedly wouldn't pay for Sebastian's snacks. He made Katie pay for those separately. But remember, he's just like my own. I wonder if Faith calls him Mr. Chris. Melissa was the one with blue hair in court. Yes, thank you, Rachel. Passion Flower says the marks on CP's arms were from a terrible struggle, in my opinion. Thank you. Becky says, Becky, I'm not going to read that just because that's a creator's name. So I hear what you're saying. I'm going to actually write that down. Thank you for putting that out there. She thinks a creator may be the one staying in the Proudfoot home because he lost his job. Thank you for sharing that. We'll see if there's anything behind that. Hi, Minnie. Yes, Rachel, if you would email me a pic, I would appreciate it. crimetimebuzz@gmail.com. I want to see that vehicle. Minnie says it's all part of a plan. Reptile Wildfire says, I have not seen any smiles in anything posted that day. Myself either. Not the Strike and Spare, not Texas Roadhouse, nothing that I've seen. Snacks because he's 16. Like, what the heck? Yes. Nicey says, but he said he saw it on a camera. KP said you could tell his mannerisms. It was dark, but Seth said he couldn't make it out. It was grainy. FBI cleared it up. So I haven't seen it yet, Nicey. I haven't seen it. But I do hear the person had a hood on their head, and Sebastian didn't have a hoodie on at Texas Roadhouse. KP did. Okay, thank you for this. Thank you, Ebony. I only remember that the vehicle was described was maroon in color. I believe TL said that Melissa is disabled in some way, hence the handicap tag. Thank you. So I'm going to change my notes to vehicle so I don't confuse myself thinking we knew it was a car. Caroline says Melissa takes the garbage out, not Sebastian, and CB picks Melissa up at Warsham's, in my opinion. Ooh, interesting. And what does the 3 a.m. car take Sebastian allegedly to Memphis? That is a great theory. Thank you. Thank Caroline. That's a good theory. Becky says, Jay, if they only did a little bit of forensics on their home, why would they check any other homes? Because there's family living in the area, but I know what you're saying. You're being sarcastic. Why would they? Right? They didn't do the Bauer socks, apparently. Untouched. Glasses found, homes away, still not searched. Alleged glasses. Rachel says, hold on. Could she have changed footage time on cameras so Sebastian does do the trash, then leave? Well, that's a good thought. You mean to earlier, Rachel? The sun set on February 25th in Hendersonville at 5:37 p.m. And it was dark when the trash was taken out. Could it have been, but see, how would she have changed all the I'm not gonna say anything. I'll write that down as a question. That's actually a really good question, and I will write that down. Could she have changed the time? I'll write it down, my friend. You guys are thinking tonight. But that footage didn't come from there, so they would have, well, some of the neighbors' cameras were messed with, allegedly. I certainly will, Karina. Karina says you should do a show on every character in the case. I certainly will. And the things. I'm embarrassed at how much I don't have right. All of us are, hun. And you know why, Karina? Because it's so much of it has changed. Don't be embarrassed. So much of it has changed, Karina. And so it's hard to keep up. Please don't be embarrassed. We appreciate Sebastian's army. We're all here still persevering. So I will go one by one if we have to. Actually, I will do that. From what if you're in the bushes, the question is, does anyone know if they searched the garage, like do the luminol, etc.? I was told they did not. And when KP talks about searching under, around, in the house, under the beds, the sides of the beds, the bathroom, the kitchen, all bedrooms, all closets, she jumps into the car, but she never mentions searching the garage or looking under that car before she leaves. Now, did law enforcement search the garage? I have not heard that. CP says they use no luminol. What I have been heard, and I cannot verify for you, is that a scent dog was in, well, maybe a dog, I don't know if it was scent or cadaver, was in the house and laid down by the garage door. I cannot verify that. I'm telling you, that's what I hear out there. And Rachel says they didn't do any of that, which is why they hated Bullhorn Betty, because she pushed to have that done. Well, and you would think they would have done that. You never, if you read any of the stuff on the Department of Justice for missing children, their investigative field guide, detective field guide, they are not supposed to go in and treat a child like a runaway. They are supposed to treat it like a crime, like a child's missing. That way, the home scene is not, you've got crime scene tape up, which never went up. And it protects the scene. You preserve all footage, you preserve everything. And that was not done. Warsham's wasn't picked up. Texas Roadhouse footage wasn't picked up by law enforcement. And there were a couple of neighbors who called law enforcement and said, please come get our footage. So you're right. Everything should have been done always. You don't go in there listening to people say a child ran away, even if indeed it turns out to be that, right? Because then you have the investigation off to the right track. And that's something that I wonder. Is that why it's not going to the marshals? Maybe they're just embarrassed because they didn't come in and do a good investigative job. They're embarrassed. It got to where it was clear it wasn't a runaway. Things weren't done. It got high profile. Things were being shown, not done. Parents are saying luminol wasn't done, no fingerprinting, no forensics. Do you think they just got so embarrassed they couldn't get out of it and therefore they're silent, they're turning away, waiting for it to go away? Or they know something and they can't prove it yet? Or there's a cover up, in my opinion. Okay, so here's a if you're in the bushes, I'm reading a question. But the pictures taken at Texas Roadhouse that were not shared on the missing flyer and haircut, why care and hide that if to hurt Sebastian if an accident happened? Sebastian wouldn't go anywhere easily with stepdad or his family. Let me read that again. But the pictures taken at Texas Roadhouse that weren't shared on the missing flyer and the haircut, why care and care to hide that if you were going to hurt Sebastian if an accident happened? Sebastian wouldn't go anywhere easily with stepdad or his family. That is one thing I brought up to one of my sources. I said, well, why would she get him a haircut and then hurt him? Right? It doesn't make sense to me. But you would get a haircut if you wanted to be on camera and have a receipt. Excuse me, I need to mute this while I cough. That could be one reason. Another reason, maybe Sebastian was going to stay with someone she knew and she wanted him to look nice. I don't know. I think the haircut's another weird part of the story because it's not long after Strike and Spare that there's a haircut and they're at Texas Roadhouse with it. It's weird. Emily says, I think it's all about the housing and selling of housing. You scratch my back and I will scratch your back. Emily, if you did not see my live the other day about Eric Craddock's big new $1 million home, please go watch it. He has a $1 million home that he built in 2024, the same year Sebastian went missing. In 2020, he bought the land for $167,000, even though the going rate was $500,000. According to Google, in 2020, $39,000 an acre. And also an auction site is listed on that land property. Did he get it at auction? Was it posted for everyone? Was it done? You know my questions. We went through it. So that's a great question. I agree that is very plausible. Sean Taylor said that is what's happening, that there is child teeing going on, drug teeing going on, transnational all the way to China. Officials are being paid, allegedly. Money's being laundered through the housing industry. There's fake mortgages and all sorts going on, according to Sean Taylor from Millersville. And he says this all ties to the Millersville sighting of Sebastian Rogers. And if you missed our live from yesterday or from the other day, we played that too. The same one with big money for the big home for the sheriff. Hi, I am DeBear. Long time no see. Yes, it's a black tank. There's a dirty water tank in an RV and a fifth wheel and a clean one. And the dirty one is called the black tank, which is why you heard me Googling black water tank. Yes, KP had a handicap placard hanging in her van, her SUV. Yes, she did, Mini Panthers. Yes, she did. Okay, I'm looking through the chat. If you're in the bushes, Well, Karina, I found a secret cemetery called Shiloh in their neighborhood. That entire neighborhood on that Enoch neighborhood was built by Kathy Bowersock. She lives there with her husband. The neighborhood was built by Danny Guy, her nephew. He owns the land between the cemetery and the homes, and homes were still being built when Sebastian went missing. And the glasses were found on the row of homes that you would go by to get into the cemetery. All good questions. Yes. KP has a handicap sticker. I agree with you, Brenda Sue, because Sebastian has autism. Devil's Queens, now I've heard the audio. I will tell you, I've heard it for my own ears. Now, am I saying I gave him a lie detector test? Of course not. But I did hear it on my own ears. And he talked to FBI several times. He told them he would testify. He showed them the footage. They have a complete mapped out of CP's movements on that project at St. Jude's, which they would have to do. Think about it. There's children in that hospital. There's a child missing, and everyone's screaming about the stepfather who said CPS to the house allegedly many times. So, of course, they're going to check out every step of his whereabouts to cover their own liable butts. You know what I mean? Because was on property with children. So they said he was in at 5:15 in the morning, and they ended up sending him home, and they kept him home for 4 to 5 weeks till they could find a place to employ him where people and YouTubers and the media would not know where he was. Okay. Woman's Wire. Buzz, ask if there's anything under a fifth wheel where a person could hide. Yes. If you have skirting on, a family of 6 could hide under a fifth wheel. Yes. Woman's Wire. It's good to see you, my friend. How did friend Lori arrive and depart? Was she in her personal vehicle? Yes. She has a mid-sized SUV. I will have to pull Lori's car up for you. Hit that notification bell for our next Sebastian live, because it's going to be a lot. We've got a lot of great questions I'm going to try and get answered. But I do have a picture of Lori's vehicle. It's a dark vehicle, little SUV. And I don't know. What I don't know is her SUV was still there Monday. I know that. So how did John leave if he was there? Did they have 2 vehicles there? I think that's important too. Did he have a vehicle and Lori had a vehicle there? Or was he not there, he and Ethan? But I also have a picture of KP in a parking garage with Ethan. So lots of questions around Lori's visit. And I do recall one time over a year and a half ago, a YouTuber put into AI something about Sebastian Rogers' case, and AI came out and said that I said his name, I'm sorry, forgive me, the son, was a pivotal part of this case. But of course, that was AI, and nothing else has been said. But AI said is an important part of this case. I'm paraphrasing. Is Lori's son. Emily says, CP, you thought no one would care about little Sebastian Rogers, but guess what? We are here to stay until he is found, and we will find all the corruption and let it be known. We will stay until he's found, and let's try and bring him home for the holidays. His birthday's December. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. Seth, we're praying. We're thinking of you. I'll be on in the morning. Then we have Christmas Eve and Christmas and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And let's not forget December 7th, Sebastian's birthday. His 17th birthday. This is going to be a hard 6 weeks for Seth. Please keep him in your prayers and keep Sebastian in your prayers and everyone who is missing, all of Sebastian's loved ones who want him home. Please. Does the family have a funeral home en route to where they went in the RV? We don't know the answer to that question. Kathy Bowersox's cousin, Bradford, is the director and embalmer at a funeral home. Now, I do not know. It is not in Hendersonville. I'm writing that down and I'll pull that. I haven't pulled it up for a while. It's got 2 names. I haven't pulled it up for a while. So I will pull that up for you all the next time too. Good questions, my friends. And we'll see where that, if we'll see the route, Rachel. We'll look at the route together, see if it's anywhere between Memphis and Hendersonville. Excellent, excellent thoughts. Karina says he was taken in the 3 a.m. car to Memphis. He doesn't have to be put in a water tank under the 5th wheel, my friends. All they had to do was put him under the 5th wheel and with the skirting on. Unzip the skirting, put him in, zip it. And please forgive me, Seth, if you're listening. I do have hope he's alive. We are just brainstorming. So we're just brainstorming based on this news. Criddle, what a cute name. Criddle369, a cute face there. Our dirty water tank is big, but the opening is not big enough to put something bigger than what would fit into the toilet is the best I can explain it. Yes, here's what I'll do. I will get the water tank images also. I will get his model, which I have. And these are amazing, thought-provoking questions. And that's why I will pull up my notes, my files, and my photos and answer for you next time. Hopefully next time. If it's not, I'm definitely answering this, but we'll see what time I get home Thursday night if I have a chance to answer all of this Friday. And don't forget, I will be on tomorrow morning to spend Thanksgiving morning with you because you all are my true crime fam. Okay. Emily says it was all planned out. That's why he wasn't found. Barry Happy says they were camping nearby. Who was? Who's they? Guys, I need that. Who's they, Miss Barry Happy 4883? They were camping nearby. Who's they and nearby what? Thank you. I'm stuck on the 3 a.m. car too. I am too. We've got to brainstorm now with this new information. We are Sebastian's army, and we can put this together. We can figure this out. I mean, we're not investigators, but we can do our best to try and figure out where Sebastian is. Yes. Okay, so Lori is one of Katie's friends. They were in the military together. She's military. Her husband's military, just like Katie and CP are military. I've heard they were in town over the weekend, John, Lori, and E. But Lori was the only one there Monday, so we don't know if really John and their son E was there or if Lori was just there for the weekend. Now, why wouldn't that have been mentioned in the narrative that Lori was there? I don't know. Or did Lori arrive? Well, how could Lori be there Monday morning? She's from out of town. She was there when Seth arrived. So she wouldn't have been able to travel there by from 6 a.m. and be there before Seth because she's from out of town. So she was there for the weekend. Why was that never mentioned? Why didn't KP say, and I don't know why he wouldn't have left. His best buddy, E, was here. They're buddies. I don't know. Thank you, Kitty Hawk. I'll let you know that I received them. Thank you. Emily says, it was a slap in the face to Seth Rogers from Mrs. Sox. What was a slap in the face, Emily? You guys have great thoughts. It was all planned out. That's why he's not been found. Oh, a slap in the face to Seth from Mrs. Sox. Thank you, Emily. Oh my gosh. Dancing Queen says, in my town last week, a semi got pulled over and many kids were saved out of the back of a semi truck in Wisconsin. Thank God. Oh, terrifying. That is so scary. I'm so glad he got pulled over. They got pulled over. Teresa says, I don't know how they keep the lies all straight. Well, KP doesn't. CP's changed his stuff. It's not a dash cam, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. And then the FBI update says a dash cam. Or Sonny said a dash cam. Someone said a dash cam. They can't keep things straight. Strike and spare. Now it was not some big event where he was having such a great time. They dropped in, left. He's got a haircut no one mentions. They have on matching shoes. She's wearing a hoodie. He's not even wearing a jacket to Texas Roadhouse. She didn't take him to his favorite restaurant for his favorite meal of salmon and asparagus, like that old photo she put up and let us think it was. That wasn't from that night. The real Texas Roadhouse footage shows him eating what looks like pasta. Yep, he owes her jewelry. What jewelry am I going to get? What mother? Anyone who's had a child. If a child's missing, you're not looking at your fingers wondering what your next bling is. That is weird. Criddle says we hook the tanks up to a bigger plastic type hose to empty them. We do that with the gray tank and sewage tanks, but the opening is not big. Yes, now that you're mentioning it, I'm envisioning it because of my RVs. No, Sebastian was not happy, and I haven't seen one happy photo from that day. Not one true tear, Emily says, from mommy and stepdaddy. Yes, so let's see if anyone happens to know what part of the day. Karina, I know where it is, and I know the name of it, the funeral home, and I'll see if it's on the route from Memphis to Hendersonville. We'll check it out. Justice for Noog says, looks like he was sent out to the 3 a.m. car, probably wearing someone's shoes or new ones. Could be. Would that minimize scent detection? New shoes. I'm writing that down. And they had on matching shoes, remember? But she's the one who had on the hood. He did look miserable. Yes, he did. Donna says, I work in a school. I used to work in an autism school. So did I, my friend. And seen bite marks on arms before. Those marks on CP's arms look like bite marks to me. Myself as well. But I'm not a medical professional. So I had, like I said, someone looking and she didn't return them to me. But if you have the good shot of those arms, I will be with several nurses tomorrow. Bama 01 says, forget the civilian police. Turn all this stuff over to the military police. They don't play games. My son's a former Marine, and I wouldn't think that the armed services would take lightly to this BS. That's a great idea. When do they take jurisdiction of? I guess they could take tips, right? That's a great thought, Mama. I'll bring that up. That's a great thought. Yes, the scent dogs went to the retention pond and beyond. Yes. There were 3 ponds, allegedly all drained. And the trucks were never stopped. Even though they had dogs searching for Sebastian there, law enforcement did not stop the vehicles from working and digging and moving things around. I find that alarming. Absolutely alarming that they didn't stop the trucks, but they let the dogs in there. Christy, from what I've heard, Christy's question is, great question, Christy. Did the cops take picture of his arms? We have never heard that. We have heard all over the streets of YouTube that TBI didn't notice them, but we don't know. We don't know, but we have pictures of the arms. get this stuff to the military police, get their benefits cut completely off. They're fixing to lose everything. Ooh. And I'm actually going to be with a former special ops person tomorrow, too. So I will talk to them about that. Reptile, the tree. Okay. I'm going through the, if you're in the bushes, I'm going through the chat. Crazy Country Gal says she's never heard anything about that garage, in my opinion, allegedly. I happen to think Sebastian's mattress and Faith's mattress may have been switched after the accident. Was Faith's room investigated? They were in the home. I would think they investigated all bedrooms and stuff. I mean, we're in all bedrooms. Now, if you recall, someone saw a bed being moved into the garage by CP, and he said someone gave it to him. That was after Nancy Grace asked about that, even if furniture had been moved in and or out. He said no, but I think in some interview he said someone lent him a new bed, gave him a new bed or a new mattress, and it's in the garage. I'm answering the best I can, you guys. Becky, you're asking me why the window was open that night. I assume you mean the dining room window, and I find it a little hard to believe a dining room window that faces the front of the house was left open that night. But I really do, because their dining room has one window. It's in the front of the house. You would open it, and that was the window. So if that's the window that you're talking about, I really find that hard to believe that that window was left open, because it would have been visible to everyone and all. Okay. CP Rachel says CP blinged out a trailer. The trailer took car of hubby's his sister's hubby, picks up both of them, carries him and meets to help or just pick up, maybe watch out, meets them after to get out of an area. Now, Rachel, he was in Memphis on camera, spotted by his superior on camera, because the RV park has cameras, but at 8:00 putting on the skirts to his fifth wheel in the dark of night in the cold. And he was there till after midnight doing that. And then he was in the crane at 5:15. And it's 3.5 hours to get from Memphis to Hendersonville. So he could not possibly have gone a 7-hour drive after midnight and been back in his crane at 5:15. So he was in Memphis, according to this alibi, which is the crane coordinator, his superior, the crane coordinator for the entire St. Jude's project. And he even said that the FBI came by and talked to this crane operator. I heard the audio. And he told them they came by more than once. He told them he would testify to what he was telling them. And they showed them their very sophisticated camera system. Chris was on camera. He's logged, not the whole time, but he's logged in, and they let me explain that again. I shouldn't have said not the whole time. They mapped his entire movements that morning at work. And then they let him go. And when he told Nancy Grace, when she said something about his work, are you still working there? And he said, that's up in the air. And we all thought that was an odd statement. Well, this superior explained, because of everything that was going on at St. Jude's, YouTubers, media, FBI, all of this going on, they sent Chris home and they kept him home for 4 to 5 weeks, which would make sense why he would tell Nancy it's up in the air. They weren't firing him. They were trying to find another location for him to work at where people wouldn't know where he was and he could go to work. That's what the audio said. But yes, he was planning on leaving Katie. So would his loyalty be to Katie if Katie were involved? I think not. If you're going to leave a woman, you're not going to dive deep into this. You're going to get the H out. So I don't think he has that kind of loyalty to KP. I think that if let's say law enforcement has never said a stranger came into the neighborhood. So I'm sorry, that's out. They've never said be on alert for a stranger. It was quite the opposite whispered to certain people. Okay. So targeted, not random. He was taken out. There was a 3 a.m. car that pulled up. 2 people got out with flashlights. They went down to the corner. Okay, that came from allegedly a county commissioner to a local source. So could the skirting be putting on to prepare for an arrival? Allegedly, of course. But maybe not. We don't know. But we're brainstorming now that we have this new information. Why in the world are you putting skirts around your RV when you've been there for months on February 25th from 8 to after midnight p.m. when you're supposed to be on a phone call with your wife? And you're out there in the cold, dark night when you were off Sunday, you were off Saturday. So if it was a planned thing to do, most normal people would do it during the daylight. Why is he doing it at 8 p.m. to after midnight, according to his supervisor who saw it? That tells me it wasn't planned. And he's telling the reporter about the emotional roller coaster. Let's listen to that one last time. Oh, sorry, guys. Hold on. Let's get to it. Let me just do it this way. Okay, we're going to go here. I'm going to make sure you're seeing it. I'll play it a couple of times. Let me take this comment down, and that's where we're going to end tonight. I've got to make a green bean casserole. Hold on one second. Let me put this on. Today around 6:20 a.m. in an interview. Speculations and
relatives all waiting to hug and love him. And
Stepdad Chris says it's been an emotional roller coaster that all started Sunday night, February 25th.
boom, it all started.
Says it's been an emotional roller coaster that all started Sunday night, February 25th.
relatives all waiting to hug and love him. And
Stepdad Chris says it's been an emotional roller coaster that all started Sunday night, February 25th.
So I ask, if you have an emotional situation going on at your home, thank you, Lisa B. always for your support. Such a lovely group of people here. Thanks you all. Thank you for joining us, Lisa. If you have an emotional roller coaster going on at your home Sunday night, February 25th, Mom says everything was happy. He was in a good mood, no problems, everything normal till 6 a.m. Monday. But he tells on his first TV interview, the reporter, that there was an emotional roller coaster that all began Sunday night, February 25th, and he has propelled himself out of his fifth wheel to put on skirting at 8 p.m. and is there till after midnight. It just is odd. Yes, it gives him an alibi. Yes, he's on camera at the, most likely at the RV park. Yes, he was seen by his supervisor there because his supervisor stays there too at the RV park. But you've got an emotional roller coaster going on. You've been there for months, so you would have had your skirts on already. So suddenly from 8 to 12 after midnight, you're putting on skirts to cover which hide the underneath of your fifth wheel, and you didn't do it Sunday during the day, you didn't do it Saturday during the day, which leads me to believe it wasn't planned. Something that was going down propelled him to do that. Did the 3 a.m. car take Sebastian to Memphis? Is that why the whole family had to go and leave KP there alone for the search and take a 24-hour, 17 to 24-hour overnight stay to load up an RV? Ludicrous. Those of us who have RVs know that's ludicrous. Hi, Rita. Good to see you. Rita says, Crime Time Buzz, hello, beautiful Jay, thank you. And the video you were on with Nick the Hat and Charlie Ramsey was just beautiful and amazing. Thank you so much, Rita. It's not going to be our last. It will be our first of several, or at least first of two. We're going to be doing more. Thank you so much. I'm glad you all came out to support us. And Rachel said, Jay had me dying hearing Charles so blunt, precious, and priceless. And in my opinion, Nick is. Yes. Yes. He was very blunt. Remember, Nick's show, that was uncensored and raw. Uncensored and raw. So, my friends, thank you so much for being here. Let's try and bring Sebastian home for the holidays. Let's pray. Let's get Seth through the holidays, all his loved ones through the holidays who want him home, who are searching for him, who are worrying about him, who have an empty chair tomorrow at their table, and all the families who have an empty chair at their table tomorrow. It is going to be a very difficult day. We have so many missing children. And let's not forget Anna Kepner's family, the 18-year-old who was emmed on a cruise. Her family is facing Thanksgiving without her tomorrow. So many families. And let's remember them all in our thoughts, our vibes, our prayers, whatever you believe. And I will be here tomorrow morning with you to spend some morning time with my true crime family, because you all truly, I've spent my holidays with you. We love to do it. And I just truly appreciate. Hi, Nick. How are you? Happy Thanksgiving. Stay humble and united. Amen to that. We are Sebastian's army and we will not give up. Thank you all for being here, for respecting my sources and not asking me who, about the audio. I appreciate you all. And here's a message to Nick. Nick the Hat, we love you also. We love you all also. And a thank you for all you do. Thank you all so much for everything you do and for caring about all the children. I will see you tomorrow. Hit the notification bell, sub up if you haven't, and I will be here in the morning before I have to go to my family's home. All of you take care and know you're not alone tomorrow. We will be here. Talk soon, my friends.